as an author, you will have seasons of writing. There are times when you are just going to be so full of ideas, everything is going to flow so easily, and that is your season of writing. But there will also be seasons of rest and seasons of struggle and seasons of break, and you just have to plan for this as you are writing your books and not get frustrated when you're in the wrong season trying to do the wrong thing. And this is something that comes with time and experience. You are not going to get this right off the bat. You're going to have to be very aware of yourself, very well versed in what you do and how you do it as a person and as an author. And there will be times when you just need to write. And once you kind of figure out when those times are, and they tend to come at different ways for different people. So it might be seasonal. Fall might be your time to write. You might have fall and summer to write. You might have, different holiday seasons when you want to write, or you might be somebody who gets through that book and then you need a break. So it's going to be different for each of you. Your season is not necessarily like fall, summer, winter, spring, that kind of thing. You are going to have to figure out your own personal build. How do you function best? And then understand when those seasons are coming and clear out the rest of your schedule. There are going to be things you don't need to be handling while you're in your season of writing. So if you are all in on a novel, you're not going to be all in on some of the other things, and you have to plan for that. Now, the caveat is that real life is happening and you're going to kind of have to work with some of these things. But if you're smart and if you have gone through this a couple of times and you understand the way that you're working, you can adjust for that. So for me, I know when I am writing a novel, I need to be all in on that novel. It will not be taking me a long period of time to write this. I write very quickly. I write in under 2 weeks a full novel. And when I'm doing that, I'm also running my businesses. I'm also doing my other things, but I'm not focused as much on those other things. Because I run multiple businesses, have to be doing things. And I talk a lot about making sure I have things on the front burner and things on the back burner. So when I'm writing my novel, I am not building a course. I am not filming a ton of YouTube videos. I am not filming a bunch of TikToks. I am not doing other tasks while I'm writing my novel. I'm not going on vacation when I'm writing my novel. When I am done with that novel, now I'm not doing as much in the writing space. I am going to be doing a little bit of marketing, but I'm not going to be doing a ton on book stuff because now I have to focus that time and effort on creating that course or filming those videos or doing those things or maybe even going on that vacation. So for me, I understand my seasons. When I get into that creative space, I have to be able to knock that out all in one sitting, more or less. It's not one sitting, but you get the picture. And then I can focus on the other things. So for you, when you're figuring out your personal seasons, you have to understand you're not going to be able to prioritize other things while you're prioritizing your book. And for some people, your book writing is going to be a much longer period of time, 6 months, a year, 7 years, as opposed to my 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. And you just have to understand how you're going to be divvying up your time. Your season of writing doesn't even have to be like a 2-week period. It could be for an hour a day. That's your season of writing. And then you have 5 days a week, 1 hour a day. That's your season of writing. So you're figuring out what works best for you and then how to prioritize things around it. Because everything does need to be a priority at some point. You need to take care of the things you need to take care of, and you can't let things slack or you can't let things go. You have to make sure things are getting handled. But if you know these times are coming when you're gonna need to focus on your book, when you know you've got some big things in your book world coming up, beforehand, you gotta get a lot of that stuff done. And sometimes that means giving up your Netflix. Sometimes that means not going for that ice cream. Sometimes that means not being able to hang out with your friends as much. You have to plan and prioritize to get everything done, to make sure everything is okay. And it's okay if you have planned for this and you've made your people aware, because if you're a mom or if you are responsible for something or if you're on some kind of team, you can't just let things hang. So you have to prepare them in advance for the time that you're going to be focused on that writing for whatever period of time that's going to be, whatever that looks like in your writing sessions. You just have to get things done in advance. So I know when I'm gearing up to do a book, I'm not starting that until I have a couple of things taken care of so that everything in my life can continue to run mostly smoothly as I'm doing these things. So I plan in advance. I do not sit down to write a novel unless I have everything settled in my other businesses so that I can step away for those couple of days and really focus hard on my novel and just kind of do back burner things like showing up on TikTok for that other audience. If I am going to be going all in on my book, I make sure my family is set for that period of time before I go and do that. And also, you can, as long as you're scheduling these things, like, you know, when you're going to take care of these things, you can do things after as well. It doesn't have to be like, I have to do 18 meals and 7 hours of housework and like all of these things before. As long as you know that you can accommodate that after, you can figure out your schedule and get those things to mesh properly. You just have to understand your seasons of writing. And like I said, it comes down to doing it a lot. So if you're brand new, it's not really something you can do to the level that you will be able to do it once you understand yourself. I know how I write. I understand what my season is like. I sit myself down, I write a few hours a day, and I knock out a book in under 2 weeks. And I understand how the rest of my world functions around that, how I prepare in advance, and then how I pick up the slack afterwards. I understand how I have evolved and how my seasons and sessions have changed. And I accommodate that as I am planning. So the more you're able to do this, the more you're going to be able to plan for those seasons and operate best in those seasons. Because if I try to write when I'm not creative or when I'm not in the right space, it's going to be a much harder task. So I wait until I'm in the right creative set for my novels to be able to write those. I make sure that I am in that space so I can be as productive as possible. And if I'm not, then I'll shift, I'll change my schedules a little bit. If I need to accommodate creativity, or if I need to accommodate time or what I'm going to be doing, I can do that and change things. It doesn't have to be on some weird, like, hyper focused schedule that I arbitrarily make for myself and then make myself stick to it. As long as I'm getting everything done, I can change up the order or reposition how I'm doing things. And that comes back to a lot of the conversations we have here on the channel. Your writing will not be like my writing. My writing is not going to be like yours or his or hers or any of theirs, because we're all different individuals. We function on different levels. And so it's really important to make sure we understand what works for us and serves the productivity that we are trying to put into writing our novels. So you will have a season of writing, and I will have a season of writing, and they're going to look radically different, which is why you should talk to a lot of people, see what they do and how they do it, and then take pieces from different people, cobble them together, and form something that works really well for you. But understand, the more you get into this, the more you do this, the more you're going to understand your seasons, the more you can accommodate them and make it easier, more productive, and more profitable for you to do your writing and the other things in your life. Just understand it's a process, and you constantly refine and you constantly tweak, because you as a person will evolve and will change. And what worked for me 2 years ago doesn't work for me now. And I've had to adapt to that. So as long as you're adaptable and you are perceptive of what's happening and you can take stock of that, evaluate it, analyze it, and then put into practice what's going to work for you now, you can do really well with this. Drop your questions on seasons of writing down below. Follow along for more daily episodes helping you navigate the world of author life so that you can live your best author life while also still having a life. We'll see you in tomorrow's episode.